or one day. That's the
Oh
One
vision.
day
yeah, you're headed
you'll
there.
be you'll be the more of him.
I wanna take over. All right. Let's see what's going on, internet. Do we have? Oh, we do have some traction
Mm.
here. Yes, 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 yes. We are on the Facebooks of the world. Hey, everybody watching. I have two wonderfully interesting people here. We're gonna get started in a second. But we are doing a very special live open loops episode here. Um, let's hope. Is this going to actually go out? I want to make sure this is going out to everything, though.
I can pull it up on my iPad, see if it's.
Oh, yeah. Is anybody out there? Hey, everybody. Let's see. I think it's starting
Everybody
slowly
out
but
there,
surely. Yeah, yeah. See, now it's on my page, but I don't know if it's on the other pages, but that's okay. We're not officially recording yet. What in the heck? The other thing I can do is I will move this stream to the page as well. So that way people can check it out right now. Oh, someone's watching out there. Hey, whoever's out there. Hope it's not just me watching. Um,
looking
let's
at you.
see. Yes, yes. Let's see. Boo, 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 boo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is live with Greg. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Sharing this out there, so at least people also have this stream to watch it on. And then the other question is, are we? How's everybody out there? Is anybody out there on YouTube? Anyone out there watching? Say hi if you are. We're excited to see you. Um, let's
I haven't
see.
got enough bandwidth to do two at once, so
Yeah, you all feel set up here?
we're all good.
Oh yeah, good, good, good. Oh yes, we do. We are on YouTube right now. We're live. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. Um, hey, whoever's watching, say
Mm-hmm.
hi if you're watching this show. Say hi. We're gonna get started very shortly. This is gonna be a very strange interview. I'm telling you already. In a good way, the good kind of strange.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yes, yes. Oh, there we go. There we go. Um, yeah. Why? You know what? I'm ready to roll into it. Lihi, Ed, you ready? You ready to roll?
We're ready to roll.
I'm ready to roll.
I love it. I love it. All right. Today on Open Loops, Ed Edwards and Lihi Introp. Who? Who do they represent? Well, let's just say they're together. They they form what one might call an alien brain. As a matter of fact, Ed was featured on an Ancient Aliens episode that was called the Alien Brain. They are being studied by some of the greatest research institutes for all things paranormal, all things, shall we say, alternative science. Some might say the real science.
There's some real
The
science, major science going on.
Yeah, no, I mean this is what's interesting, and we're gonna get into this. Yeah,
Yeah.
these let me say, I met these two. I went to a book signing event. It was the launch of Alan Steinfeld of New Realities. It was his book launch for his book that just came out about making contact extraterrestrials. There was a book launch in New York City, and he said, "Look, these the people I'm about to bring up are going to do a demonstration for you, and it's going to be very weird." And to me, that was exciting. Little did I know that Leahy and Ed were going to come up and really blow the lid off that room. I mean, they did a demonstration of energy, and we're going to get into it that truly astounded me. The stories Ed was telling, the work that both of them were sharing, especially with Lihi, with your background in traditional mental health and the way you've made this part of your work. We're going to get into all of that. Ed Edwards, Lihi Introp, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Glad to be here. Glad to
Yeah,
be
thank
here.
you for having us.
Yes.
Yes, I am honored. I am honored. Why don't we start here? I'm very curious. You know what? I'll go with Ed because you told me very briefly when we were talking at this event that you had this ability, or you knew your abilities were different since you were young. Talk about when you first started tapping into this awareness.
Well, I had my grandmother, she pretty much raised me, and she did a form of hands-on healing, which was like of the Cherokee lineage. It was something that was handed down like through the Cherokee Nation or so, because she had a little bit of Cherokee in her. And we live here. My hometown and all is about 27 miles from the Cherokee, North Carolina Indian Reservation. And so this whole little area right in here was all Cherokee land, holy grounds, you might say. And so my
Yeah.
grandmother did this hands-on healing for the local community. She could take fire out of people, stop bleeding, stop headaches. One of her famous things was removing thrush in babies. People would bring babies to her and she would clear that thrush up. It'd be gone in 2 hours. You know, it's crazy. And all she did was just, get around them, move her hands around them. And I don't think grandma didn't really understand it because she always read scripture. She always, carried this as God or Jesus coming through her. And she was, projecting on of that form and all.
Yeah.
But like with me, she raised me. And so she played a game of patty cake with me, except when we played the patty cake, we could feel the magnetic energy in the hands. It would make my fingers just tingle like crazy. And I'm just 2, 3 years old. So at that age, I'm just running, playing with this electricity. And so it woke up in me. And she kept it alive, and she didn't allow the religious organizations and schooling and educations to condition it out of me like they did all the other kids. Everybody would be doing what me and Lihi are doing had they were allowed to grow up playing with these abilities. Everybody has these abilities. We just slipped through the cracks. Lihi also had it. She was aware of it as a young kid and everything, and grew up with it. Now, I was a mischievous kid. She was in a more structured life and everything, but I was just out here in the country, and grandma didn't know what I was doing when I wasn't in front of her. And I was playing with the energy in very mischievous ways. And those ways,
Right.
those ways caused my brain to wire up differently than the other kids that were not playing with the energy. So I played with it, doing all kinds of mischievous things. I learned how, at an age of about 4 or 5 years old, I learned how to, and I didn't know what it was back then. This is the scientists today telling me what I was doing, but I learned how to reverse the electrical polarity in my body's electrical system. And how,
Whoa. What does
okay,
that mean? What does that mean? That's
it
intense,
means,
man.
it means a lot, because that's what has us in research so heavy, because they can wire us up and hook us up to all this equipment. And then we start mentally playing with this energy or projecting this energy at the sensors in the lab. And as we do, we're pulling one polarity and then click, reverse the polarity, and it shows up in the equipment instantly. And we can do
Wow.
it long range. We do it long range. We'll give a demonstration here in a few minutes that will also record and work in the future for anybody that watches the recorded version of this, where we'll have everybody stand up and set up a gravity wave. I call it an electrical gravity wave, and we'll start off with just the polarity energy. And as we start reversing it back and forth, it'll make all your audience start swaying back and forth. It'll also cause them to start tingling in their fingers and stuff like that. So
Wow.
we'll see how that goes in a few minutes. But I started off really young playing with it, and I played with it in school. I was My teachers really couldn't understand it, but boy, they knew something was going on with me, that I was different.
Mhm.
Well,
And so
Lihi, I want to get to your story in a second, but I have to know more about you messing around in school because that sounds fascinating to me. I mean, look, all this healing stuff is great, but I have a lot of reverence for people that have abilities that they didn't know what they were doing with when they were kids because perhaps some of the most interesting stories are there. I mean, do you remember any time at recess where threw a kid to the ground from 10 feet away or anything? What? I need some stories, Sam.
um,
Very curious.
yeah, I could. I, I had a lot of strange things happen to the other kids and everything. One of the early things was that, I grew up out here in the country and I used to get picked on a lot. The bullies used,
Right.
they thought I was weird, strange. And then one day, here they come the bullies, and I felt this electrical charge go through me. I was like freaking out that they were going to beat me up and stuff. And I created a real strong electric field around me. And when they stepped into my field about 10 foot away, the electricity flowed into their bodies and caused their bladders to release.
What?
Things
No,
like that. Had just all kinds of neat things. Then I could sit in the classroom and watch the teacher and start focusing on her, and she'd start wobbling back and forth from the chalkboard
oh
and
my
stuff.
gosh. Wait a
Well,
minute. Are you the person that said that 11 was the Stranger Things girl was based off of you? I feel as if there are a lot of pop cultural things we hear about Carrie and telekinesis, Stephen King.
mm,
Um, I mean, do you think you were indirectly the inspiration for any of these things?
I inspired the movie Phenomena.
Really?
Yes, the research that Dr. Levengood was doing on me, Linda Moulton Howe was covering him and all
Right.
his stories and everything. And he wrote up in there. We got a video of me in the lab with Dr. Levengood where I'm affecting his equipment. He's just going,
Mm.
"Oh my God, this is phenomenal! This is absolutely phenomenal what you're doing here." And then he wrote it up and showed her the video, and she wrote up a little screenplay thing on it, little text thing. And then next thing we know, Phenomena came out later, a few years later.
Oh my gosh, this is wild stuff. Leahy, I need to know. Did you ever think you were going to be doing this with your life?
No, but I did know, I never know how my life is going to look, but I do know that I've been not searching, just being, always knowing that there's this, everybody, when I connect with people, I kind of connect with them on different levels. So
Yeah.
so the ones that I would be drawn to total, which are very, very few, it would be where I could see, where I could see you can't see any end. There's no end. There's just completely no end to it. And to bring that down here to this reality here, that we function in past, present, and future, right? And we already function with a lot of layers of pain and wounds and trauma, whatever it is, jealousies, anxiety. That's the humanity here. So I've always wanted to, like, I've always seen beyond that linear reality. So
So
whenever
you,
I
you
would,
you're talking multidimensionality. You believe that you've always been tapped into multiple dimensions. Is that sort of what you're saying, or
yeah, different levels, the unseen levels and the level here.
right?
So I would know, like, I'm a character here. At a very, very young age, I would just know that I'm playing this character, and that it's almost like, I don't know. It was like I would try to find ways to kind of find openings. You know what I mean? So
Interesting.
I would want those openings, and I couldn't find it in men, because men were just so. I mean, I'd find little pieces, little points, little this, little that, but then they would come up with their whole. They would be in their circular kind of thinking. You know what I mean? They wouldn't be like that open.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I did meet quote unquote, the soulmate man in my 20s, and that was when the first man, because everything I saw so predictable, so contained, so I could, everything that I saw would just happen because people weren't accessing that level,
Was this tough for this guy? Did this guy going, oh my gosh, Leahy, yes, I know you can see what I, oh yeah, I swear I'm not going to screw up. I'll remember to pick you up later. I'm not gonna. I mean, did you
No, but
get into
that's you
fights with
can't.
this guy?
No, yeah, but that's the whole point. This bias that what we're talking about is an integration. It's an awareness that you're accessing something that's. I mean, I go more from the heart. You know what I mean? So I access
Right.
more from the heart center. So that when Ed and I met, it was like I'm like the. I mean, I call it the pure feminine and the pure masculine. So
Right.
in a sense, when I'm connecting to somebody's brain, I'm also connecting to the heart. So if they're aligned with the heart and the brain, that's when you can just go to all these other levels. You know what I mean? And that's what I felt with Ed. It wasn't a feeling from any. You can't think it. You can't say, oh my God, this is something that I've always wanted. I want to do this. It just is. It's an isness. It's just that.
Yeah.
And that's how I've always functioned. You know what I mean? But because this reality has been so dense, um, a lot of people end up in psych hospitals and in the criminal system because they're not able to channel all these different energies, and they get locked down. You know what I mean? They get like, so when I met Ed, it was just like the moment we met, he followed my energy outside of this conference that we were on. We shared a little bit the other day when you came to the thing, it was
Yeah.
in that space. Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, where you met us at is where me and Lihi met in that room
Yeah.
where
This was
we
a
were at
very
Allen's Book Club.
interesting. What was it? Yeah. What the name of the place? The name again was what was it?
It's in Tribeca, in New
Yeah.
York City, Tribeca area there. I don't remember. It's a gallery and
Yeah,
stuff.
beautiful rugs, designer rugs that are gorgeous, hanging on the wall. And it's not a rug gallery. I mean, the guy's artwork is creating
Yeah.
these gorgeous fabrics that have designs in them. And for this guy in New York City to have this real estate and open up the doors to have these high level consciousness events, it felt like a real New York moment for me. But yeah, I mean, what were
Yeah.
you both doing in that space? Were you doing like a workshop? Was there another event there that
Oh,
was spiritual? What brought you
yeah.
there?
Alan that was doing the book signing, Alan had invited me and had invited Leahy, but we didn't know each other then. And I was sitting in the back of the room and I started feeling the energies and I was looking all around and then boom, Leahy walked by me and it created a magnetic wave that pushed me and I knew something was up. So I followed her out the door. And we went to a little restaurant and we started
Yeah.
exchanging ideas and that's where it all took off from.
No, wait a minute. You're
So
both. You're both. Are you? Is it romantic? Is it just professional? What is your exact? How would you define your relationship?
There's no labels, actually. That's the whole thing. There's not a label to it. I mean, people try to put it into a category. The connection that
Yeah.
I have with Ed is we connect on all these levels. We're not, I mean, I don't know what you think of as romantic. It's a very, very intimate connection, a very
Of
intimate
course.
relationship.
Well, probably
But
more intimate than some
it,
romantic
to,
and married
it,
couples,
it,
honestly.
it totally is. And that's another piece of bringing this buyer is to improve relationships on a whole
Yeah.
different level, a whole different way of connection on all levels. But so yeah, so we're very, very, I don't know how you want to describe it, Ed. I mean, like
yeah,
I like
it's hard to put into words. It's easier to demonstrate than it is to put into words. And
Yeah.
then it's fun to demonstrate it for these scientists that are studying this because they sit back and go, "Oh my God, wow!" And then some of the craziest tones. I wish I'd have had a video camera on the scientists that study us, how we were blowing their minds with what we could do to their instrumentation. I mean,
Yeah.
now like we heard, been, I'm we're under study at the Monroe Institute, the Rhine Research Center, and then the same doctors that study us at Monroe also did studies with advanced EEG at the University of Virginia. And what they learned about us and everything is when we turn on this energy, our brains are processing about 80 to 90%. We're also processing at all levels of consciousness simultaneously. So alpha, beta, theta, delta, and all that are all firing and operating all at the same time in our heads. And so
Wow.
that causes that's what creates this energy that we're able then to transmit. We can send it worldwide. And like I say, we'll give a little demonstration here in a few minutes. And we use this energy to take pain out of people, people that are hurting. One of my specialties that I started now with Lihi helping me is causing neuropathy, neurological issues to clear up in just a few minutes in people's feet and stuff.
Wow.
People that have numb hands, numb feet. We can run this electricity backwards through their systems, and it causes a reconnection of all the nerves all the way back to the brain. Same with stroke patients. Stroke patients that have paralyzed limbs, we run this energy out of our hands right back into their arms, and it'll go right up whatever paralyzed limb, and it'll reawaken them in just minutes. We got videos of it.
This is very wild. I wanna go back for a second about you following Lihi out. Lihi, were you in the same position where with him, did you also feel equally as drawn to Ed as he was to you, like a pure energetic connection?
Yeah. What happened is, yeah, we sat down, me and another a friend that went outside, and a lot of people, whoever wants to come to the restaurant around, whatever after this a book, it was also a book signing, I believe. Whatever it is, people come. So he came, he sat down next to me. He looked at me, I looked at him. This is my way I saw it. And when I looked at him, I just kept looking and looking and looking and looking. And I was gone. And then you heard people coming into the restaurant. It was we were completely, and I knew, like, it was the brain that we use, the personality, the egoic brain was not there. So I just saw this. I just saw that this individual. I told you I wasn't in this state of thinking, this way of thinking right now that I'm talking to you. And I just saw. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to see it if I wasn't, if I wasn't where I was, and the awareness and the maturity and all this and all that came. You don't just go there and get it. It's just. And when I looked at him and he looked at me, it was like I never felt more seen in my entire life and it wasn't based on anything physical, anything that we spoke about, anything funny. It was being seen at the point of creation, really. You know what I mean? And this was just, and then later we just, it was a knowing after that. It was like, we made the connection here. Like, probably this was a long time coming, and it's like beyond odds that we met and had the recognition and awareness to connect and meet. But the fact that we did, and so now we're kind of bringing in this new consciousness buyer into this place here that is so pristine and so pure. You know what I mean? That is like, and the only way it could have happened is with us two meeting. This is how unique it is. You know what I mean? But it's at the same time, it's no surprise considering his history and my history that it happens. These things happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I'm just nervous about the guys watching this right now thinking, you know what, this is a good pickup line. I'm going to say, hey, I don't see anything else. I'm here with you right now, and I've seen you at the point of creation. You want my number? Yeah, no, I mean, but no, this is like a fascinating story because it does make me think about the way humans connect with each other in general and how there really is a lot of BS we have to go through in order to get intimate with people. And what I mean is not that, there is good proper forms. You have to get to know someone. You're not going to just open up your heart, your soul, your body to someone without getting to know them. But sometimes I wonder how much the games and this person's talking to me. Well, what does this mean exactly? And the mind starts creating stories and narratives around things. How often do people meet each other purely energetically? How is that possible? I know they've talked about this, and I think it was I read in the Celestine Prophecy there was a little bit of kind of talk of James Redfield kind of talked about this vision of the future. I've heard other people talk about this future where we're no longer using words. It's almost telepathic. That's how people fall in love. They go up to each other and they just boom, connect, and you don't even need an exchange of words. But it's interesting that you both found that.
That's what I know. That's the love that I know. the love that's here, the paradigm that's here is like, yeah, we get to know each other. We have the same interests. We this, we that. We
Yeah.
carry all our emotional baggage, whatever it may be, and we exchange and we want something from the other person. This buyer cuts through all that. You know what I mean? It creates as you access
And
this
for those that
energy.
don't know, what is
Mhm.
buyer? That's BIRE, right?
It's bio intrinsic resonant energy. That is the term the scientists have coined up to separate me and Lihi and stuff away from the other modalities of Reiki and hands-on healing and all this and that, because what we're doing is highly measurable. These other modalities, they'll get those people in the labs, but they're not measuring anything. But like Dr. Levingood, he had equipment called the charge density pulse recorder that measures the electrical energy in the body, or like in my hands and stuff. When we turn this energy on, I can bring the electrical energy up in my hands up to over 800,000 microamps. I can put my hands close to people's bodies and it feels like a TENS unit. That's like I say, if I get a hold of people with paralyzed limbs or neuropathy or any of those conditions, we run this energy backwards through the nerves, and it makes the energy that we create runs backwards through the living nerves, and wherever the damage is between, say, the hands and the brain, this energy goes to that damaged area, and then it causes the healing mechanisms in the people's bodies to activate and then reconnect the nerves back into the system. I've had people with neuropathy that they've had for 10 years and stuff, where they have to look down at the floor and see where their feet are when they're walking. I can get this energy up so high and run it through their shoes right up their feet, and in 5 minutes later they got full feeling back in their feet.
Oh
And
my
it's permanent.
gosh.
It lasts.
Why
And
isn't
so
this
that's where our
why isn't the
studies are.
world talking about you? This is why I'm out here. I want to spread this. If
Mhm.
this is
Yeah.
as powerful as it is, I mean, and you have scientists. Is there? Well, let me ask you about this. Do you feel that there has been any in your dealings, because you have scientists supporting this? Have you ever encountered any medical establishments or people who are in this scientific space that have been trying to shut either of you down in any way?
Nah. No, they're trying to build it up and promote it and
Not
study
all
it.
play, but not all places are open to it. I
They're
mean,
not open to it. Yeah.
yeah, not. I don't
What
think
we do,
all universities are open to it.
yeah. But like you said, Greg, there is so much bull out there
Right.
that they take us like one. Well, we're just another one of them bullish things coming along there, just talking. But see, we got the research backing us up. When I'm introducing it to new people, they say, well, that's just blah bull or so. I say, well, we got peer-reviewed papers. Go call
You know
these
what?
doctors up.
Yeah, and you know how I see it? I see it as this is coming down the chute. You know what I mean? It's like almost like this is the right timing for this biointrinsic resonant energy to meet humanity. The consciousness of this energy. Now is the time that is the right time because of what is going on with all this. There's so much division, separation, duality. This energy, when you access this energy, Greg, you could look at somebody. I don't like to talk about history. I like to be in the mystery. And
Yes,
and
right.
so to me, I've been meeting now when I connect with women, with whoever it is, I could connect with them in such an intimate place because now you're seeing not only what is on the how you want to be presented or how you want what it is that it is here. You're kind of that all that is, yeah, it's inclusive of it, but you're meeting in essence. I mean, the beauty of Ed and I meeting, he's more the electrical and the mechanical and I'm more the spiritual, the heart, and that combination is so unique and so pure and so pristine. How we're both kind of like we're just totally it's a discovery every day. It's a discovery every day because we're actually bringing
Right.
down the unseen levels and meeting over here. We're bringing it into form. We're bringing this formless energy that now scientists are able to measure, but it still hasn't landed here. So it's coming. It's here. and it's coming, but it's only for, you know, it's a resonance. It's a pure, pristine, sacred energy. I mean, I don't know if Ed sees it that way, but I know from that level, when you access this state and you become more connected and recognize that this is who you really are, when you can look at somebody. I love it when I don't have to talk to people. The talking is like blah, 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 blah. Especially, I mean, and I know it because I've met. I'm in that kind of level of connection. You know what I mean? That I could.
Right. Were
It's
you
not.
doing this at all when you were a therapist, Lihi?
Yeah,
Were you
yes,
tapped into that at all?
yes, I was doing it, but it's when somebody, I know I don't overshadow somebody, I kind of bring them into it, and if they kind of need it, yeah. So I was always looking
Right.
at people on all levels when I was meeting my patients and my clients. Now people are much more open to it. So it's a remarkable, and every time Ed and I are actually refining it. It's eternal. It's an eternal, infinite awareness that is being brought down here. So we will start to see ourselves not as body, mind, consciousness, as identified with things. We're going to start to see who's really running the show here. You know what I mean?
This is very interesting. I'm curious about in terms of the way this band started practicing together and composing songs. If we're gonna use that analogy, the Beatles documentary's out. Everybody's watching it, so it makes sense. I'm curious. Did you both? Were there sessions where you were both sitting down and going, "I know we have something to do here together. I'm not sure what form it's going to take yet, but let's
Yeah.
both try this out." I mean, what were some of those early when you first started working together? What were some of the things that you both were discovering was possible?
Well, we were, you know, I myself, I've been doing the sessions on people ever since 2000. And that's when
Right.
the Dr. Levengood and all of them kept pushing me, said, Ed, try and see if you could use that energy to take pain out of people. See if you make conditions get better. I never had used it for any type of healing or anything like that. I'd always just played around as a mischievous kid. But then one day I had this, well, a buddy of mine was riding around Lake Graben, and another friend of ours had a head-on collision, and we came up on it. And here were two cars on fire, and these two men that were just barely getting out of it. And I don't know why, but my intuition just kicked in. I turned the power on, and I went to them, and like Ed Paulson and a couple others there, I just started applying the energy to them, and they was like, went pain free. And so I just kept focusing it on it until the paramedics got there. And then, so I realized then that I could help people, that I could benefit it. And so,
So you've been doing it, and what
yeah,
happened when Leahy got involved? I mean, what were you both
well,
then
I
doing?
knew that if I could ever find the feminine aspect of it, it would like complete the force. So I'd been searching for a long time for someone else, but I had never found it. You know, you find it by knowing it. You can feel this energy. Like we'll demonstrate it here in a few minutes, and you'll feel what we're doing. Well, we gave you a little demonstration at the book signing there, didn't we?
Right, right. Yeah, no, it was great. Yeah.
You know, and we don't have to be in the same room with you. I make my whole living now taking pain out of people over the telephone. You know, people make
Wow.
donations on website or on our Acuity site there, and they hire and get Lihi and I together or separate, either way. And we work with the people and transmit our energies to them. And we're not healing anybody. Our energies is activating the healing systems in people's bodies and giving their systems the electrical energy they need to operate on.
Mhm.
So we just power them up and they go to healing. You know,
Yeah.
we blow the soot out of their
Yeah,
operating
but
system.
for me, when I would talk about ideas, when I speak to Ed, it's not they just kind of come through. It's a knowing that this buyer is a healer of it's a birthright. It's your birthright. So the physical and the emotional and mental pain could all be healed. And then I mean that's the piece. I mean, if we were actually functioning in the buyer state, we would be here in a state of evolution, evolution, evolution. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a way, we're here. It's a collapsed system right now. It's a broken system. So it needs to be. It can't even be fixed, to tell you the truth, from where it was created. So this energy that Ed and I transmit, as it heals on all levels, on the nervous system, on the chakra system. It balances you out. It opens your you're not functioning from that little the 8 to 12% brain that kind of is trying to find the answer for everything. The answers are not there. So this opens it up. So meeting Ed, 'cause I've always been looking for my beloved, and my beloved is not like, oh, I'm somebody I'm going to get married and have kids.
Right.
It's my source. I've always been looking for that peace, and you could see, like, looking back, I could see that's it's the only place I would navigate, is to go to that place. And there's so
This
many
opens up a lot of questions, and,
Yeah.
at least in terms of relationships, because people talk about twin flames. That's one spiritual concept, and still debating whether that's a legit thing worth even investigating. Then people talk about soulmates. People talk about lovers. Beloved. The idea of, and I promise we'll get back to energy. I mean, we have to get back to energy, but it is the same topic in the sense that, do we think that everybody out there has a specific person that is their source that they're supposed to create with, regardless of it's actually romance or not? Is this a new paradigm of existing that you're both speaking of, in terms of intimacy in general with another human being, that we all might benefit from investigating more?
Yeah, I don't see how it's, again, this is an energy where there's a field, a buyer field. Okay. So it's the energy field. As when you're in this buyer state, the way I see it, okay, is that you're meeting people with no predisposed opinions, no judgments, so you're with the mind on all, on you're functioning simultaneously on all levels of consciousness. Okay. So because you're
Right.
functioning on all those levels, you are not, no, you're sourcing from that place that Ed and I source, together, and separately as well. But when we do that as it's a unified field that takes place. So when you're meeting people, we have to stop thinking of, like, looking only from the physical eyes, the feeling.
Right.
There's an energy, because what I'm finding more and more since I've met Ed, especially even more, is that the energy moves me. You know what I mean? So how it looks, so you're actually decoding reality. So it's not like, oh my God, because what the problem is here is we try to kind of meet somebody and try to put it into our square. I'm going to make this work. If only this person had this and this person had this, it would be perfect. It's you're cutting yourself off. You have blockages. You know what I mean? So the thing
Right.
is to release that energy and to allow however things show up to step into it. It would be a whole different way of being. And it would be transparency, it would be intimacy, it would be connection, the physical, we would be enjoying our physical reality, but from somewhere else, as source beings, as electrical, soul beings here.
Yeah.
I mean, I taste it here and there in moments, and I mean, I know it, but you never know. We're all here. There's so many, we're all particles of all this. Okay. So the psyche of humanity has to get cleared up before all this happens. There's a lot of work
Right.
here that needs to be done. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So to me, once you find your beloved and you bring it down here, everyone moves as that. You know what I mean? And things just kind of become more effortlessly. I mean, I'm talking, obviously, I'm talking in the now, because I know it, but I don't know how long it'll catch up. And you could see there's a lot of stuff spewing out right
Right.
now. And
No, this is a very it's a different, definitely a paradigm bending perspective on meeting people and getting closer to them. Ed, as the supposedly more this divine masculine figure in all of this. I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right, Lee. He does sort of like, yep, you know what? They're studying me. I just zap them. I do all this stuff. I mean, Ed,
Right.
do you have this kind of philosophical, multi-dimensional view of reality, or are you just out here showing the
I'm,
work of energy?
I'm,
What is your
I'm,
orientation?
I can walk up to you and I can just fire my brain off instantly, and I can generate a field of energy, look at you, and push you backwards with that field of energy.
Yes, I love it.
Or I can, if I want to, I can turn on your sweat glands in your body. Then you'll just start sweating like crazy there in front of me.
Now, wait a minute. Tell me this. What happens if everybody does raise their ability to do this? I mean, does that technically mean people can make each other piss their pants and everybody's just going to be
Uh,
fighting with each other? Or does, you know what I mean? Like, that would be my fear if everybody had
well,
this power.
if they developed it to that point, they probably could. But now to develop it up like this and everything, you got to start as a child. You have to
Hmm.
start doing this energy with your brain while you are a juvenile, while you are a very young child, and then you wire your brain up. You develop these abilities. You bring it up as you play with it as a child. And as you mature into adulthood, then you've got the powers to do things with. And that was my ability. My grandmother did not let the organizations condition it out of me. They tried. I was told I was playing with the devil. I got locked up in closets because they'd catch me playing with this energy in my hands and stuff, and all kinds of things. But like I said, the devil was more fun to play with.
I was gonna say, yeah, and you must be grateful that you had this grandmother
Mhm.
that was able to get this in you because I can't imagine what would have happened if she didn't. I mean, the idea that you would have to figure
Chances are
out.
I'd be just like the rest of the kids with nothing. I'd only be using 8 to 12% of my brain instead of 80 to 90% of my brain.
Oh, now that's interesting, right? Okay. So this is using
Mhm.
more of your brain.
All these
Uh
other people are only using 8 to 12% of their brain. All these other modalities are only using 8 to 12% of their brain, and they're stuck in one level of consciousness while they're doing it. When I go to turn this power on, or Lihi, we go to turn it on or do it together. When we do it together, we're resonating. They see that in the mind mirror EEG studies they do. We do joint EEG studies where they watch our brains resonating energy back and forth, and the gamma goes through the roof when we crank it up. It just is unreal what goes on
yeah.
in us. But
Do
that's
either of you do you meditate at all? Either of you? No need to meditate. There's not meditation involved. I
it
know that's
for me.
I
For me, it's instant on.
Yeah, the same. I could also instant on. Hmm.
Yeah, it's instant
wow.
on.
Hmm.
There's
No, no,
no
this is a
meditation
very different
required.
view of energy. Um, Before we go into this demo, tell me this: what are people tapping into? What are when Reiki masters are actually doing this Reiki work and they are moving energy around, and they get results? How would you explain what's going on there versus what you both are doing with
Well,
Bayer?
they're activating energies. It's a shame they're calling it Reiki because it doesn't really fall. That's why they give us the name biointrinsic resonant energy. They found a measurable form of energy in us, unlike those in of all that other stuff like that. And they get, when they're getting some results, they're getting their systems fired off like that. But you get one Reiki person that's doing something, and you get about 100 Reiki people that are claiming to be doing something.
Right.
Okay, and that's what messes up the research ends because they get all these people claiming to do something, and then when they put them in the lab, they can't measure nothing out of them. But then when they stick us in the lab, oh my God, we drive the instrumentation, and even long range. They got, like up at UVA, they've got the Faraday cage there. Inside the Faraday cage, they've got 47 sensors inside a double down Faraday cage. They can get me on Skype and I could be hundreds of miles away from it. And when they tell me to, I can focus on that chamber in the lab and set off about 30 or 40 of them sensors in there under command.
Why now? Tell me this: did you ever did you ever try to apply for that James Randi challenge when he was
Yeah,
alive?
they wouldn't do it with me.
Oh my! See, that's the big criticism of Randy. Randy
Mhm.
was
Yeah,
selective about the people
he checked with Dr. Levengood and them and found out that I was being studied and everything. They wouldn't do it with me. They refused it.
Wow. So yeah, that's lame. That you could have had the chance to prove that this. Well, the other question about this that's interesting is, you've managed to have this be scientifically recognized. You've managed to be rated about in peer-reviewed journals, and there is an Ancient Aliens episode about you. I mean, is this? Do you both look at this as science or spirituality or both? What is your take on what's
Probably,
actually going on here?
probably both. I'm the masculine, just hardcore science guy, and I don't believe it unless it can be clinically studied and proven.
Yeah, and for me, I don't need it to be proven. Yeah, it's beautiful to have the evidence, especially in the situation that Ed and I are in. So it kind of gives it the evidence here that's necessary. But for me, it's not necessary. I
Yeah,
mean,
you
I
really
like
do
it.
both balance each other out. I mean, it's fascinating to see how,
Yeah.
yeah, you're very poetic with this, Lee, and Ed is like, I'm gonna
I
zap
mean,
you right now at this amount of da 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 da. Like,
yeah,
it's
it is.
beautiful.
It's actually, yeah, it's really a beautiful
Yeah.
blend in a way. Or I don't even know if it's a blend. It's the pure masculine, pure feminine. It's just the way it is. Yeah.
So you would
Mhm.
be happy if someone said right now, hey, look. Well, I mean, Ed might be happier with this if they said, hey, guess what? This is science. There doesn't need to be we recognize that energy is a scientific thing. It's what gets us up. We use energy in life, but we don't know if there's any of this past life stuff. We don't know if there's anything else going on. We just know that the body can channel energy if you focus on it, and it's science, and you can study it and measure it. Therefore, we're going to teach this in the classrooms. Is
Mhm.
that something you'd be okay with, or do you want to have a little bit of this supernatural, paranormal piece to it? Does that give it a little edge?
Well, it does, but we do teach it, and I love teaching it to children. I've got
Hmm.
kids. I work with a lot of autistic kids. And once I get there, it doesn't take but about 20 seconds to get an autistic kid attention. And once they zone in with me, I'll stand them up, get them rocking back and forth, and they'll come out of the box real fast. I work,
Wow.
I work with some of my clients are kids with aggressive behavior disorders, autistic. And I can take a kid like that, and after about a minute or two, they just as calm and peaceful as they can be. You know?
That is
And
really remarkable.
I also work with children with DIPG brain tumors. Yeah, but I have to be there in person with them, but pretty much. But I can run this energy between my hands and with their head between my hands, wherever the brain tumor's at, inoperable brain tumors. And I can run this electrical field through there for about 10 minutes and it'll cause that tumor to die. And
Oh
then
my gosh.
their body will get rid of it then. I mean, it's
Mhm.
You must
very,
have stumped doctors. I mean, there must be
yeah.
doctors that said, "How in
Oh
the
yeah.
heck did this person? They had no chance."
Yeah, I get calls every now and then because I've worked on some doctor's client or patient that they've had for many years, and all them many years, all they've been able to do is just ease them, and then I get a hold of them and correct them. And but I'm not healing nothing. I'm not healing anything. I can heal myself, but I can't heal nobody else. But I can turn this electricity on instantly and transmit it and send it into a person's body and activate the healing mechanisms. Just think of it as your body having millions or millions of these little tiny robots in there, and their function is to repair wherever the
Right.
problem is. Their function is to repair. But since you're not doing what I'm doing, those little robots are laying there idle. They're not doing anything, they're just there. But when we send this power into it, and then like they study us in the biophoton lab down there, we emit particles of light. Me and Lihi can be in the biophoton chamber. We'll get the flat line where we'll hold the photons under 20 photons per minute or
Right.
so. And when they tell us to turn it on, I've taken it up to over 2 million photons per half second when they tell me to. And those photons carry information. They're little pulses of light, and each little pulse is like, start functioning, start functioning, start functioning. So I'm sending these pulses to these little robots in people's bodies, giving them the commands to start functioning, and I'm supplying the electrical power for them to operate on. I'm cranking the bodies up. Now, they at the Monroe Institute, they wire us up in the copper wall array lab. And there they hook this electrometers up. They clip it either on my ear or down on our ankles or so. We're standing on a 1-inch thick piece of glass with 4 copper walls all the way around us. And we hang on to a ground rod. We hang on to it to get zero potential in our bodies. And then when the scientists tell us to let go of it, they tell us to let go and get a baseline. And so our electrical energy comes up with me and Lihi will come up to 2, 3, 4 volts there. That's our baseline. And when they tell us to kick it in, we'll start increasing the voltages in our bodies. We will bring it up to in the neighborhood of 50 to 70 volts DC. So as we work together, we bring our electrical voltage up. Now, normal for anybody is about 20 millivolts if they're healthy, or just barely a negative DC if they're unhealthy. And the most they found any of the other people breaking the different ones, they got one person that was able to raise their voltages up to 3 volts DC. Well, that's our baseline. We can crank this electrical energy up so high that it just electrifies. And then we'll take clients with different medical conditions and we'll put them between me and Lihi in the chamber there, and they'll hook all of us up to the electrometers there. And when they tell us to go, the client that has medical problems will be registering normally 2 or 3 volts negative DC. It's like a steady drain on their body's electrical system, fighting whatever's wrong with them. And so when we crank this power up, they'll watch us bring these people's voltages up in their bodies up to about 20 volts DC.
Do you think you both could replace doctors completely? If there were just both of you running around, if they could duplicate both of you?
I think this bioconsciousness could be a self-healing on a physical, a mental, emotional, and I think it could be the new way of healing, self-healing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's definitely
that is really what we were meant to do and meant to be. We separated from it a long time ago, and we got caught up in this merry-go-round here. That's a collapsed system, with emotions, with violence, with everything that's going on all levels. You know, I mean, we know that. So this is really something. Yes, this is an energy. A biointrinsic resonant energy is an energy and an awareness that could heal the human body and the human mind and the heart.
Yeah.
You know, wholeness, freedom, and joy is really what the endeavor is with this.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, I wonder, let me ask you kind of it's the hardball question, but I'm sure you both will handle this well. People that say that they have abilities like this, that they can heal the masses remotely, one of the criticisms that people go is they say, well, why can't both of these just heal the world of this disease right now that is spreading the earth? There's a pandemic. Shouldn't Ed and Lihi be out there just like channeling it and getting rid of it? I mean, certainly faith healers have promised us.
It don't work like that.
It doesn't work like that. Yeah.
No,
Explain that for the questioners out there.
Okay, for us to be able to influence your bodies and everything to cause your systems to start functioning, we need communications with you. Okay, that sets up the linkage. As we'll demonstrate in the demo here in just a few minutes, we need this knowing here. Once we have this knowing going on, we connect. It's like hooking up jumper cables between 2 batteries.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mental.
That's a great point. That makes a lot of sense. What were you going to say?
And the other thing is, there's free will here. You know what I mean? So, in a sense, the more that people that become aware of this energy and this consciousness, the more that'll be the new pandemic. You know what I mean? It'll be it really will. But people have to actually move through it. It's the human psyche that we're dealing with. So really, whatever is happening over there is happening to all of us. You know what I mean? We just kind of see everything as separate. So this energy, you have to actually go through the discomforts of it. Many people that have gotten like opened up to this, why are you smiling?
No, no, I'm just thinking about opening myself up to it at the time Ed actually did. And the first thing that Ed did when I met him at Alan's thing was he put his hands around my hands and said, "Hey, feel this." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this does feel powerful. This is strong."
So maybe
Um,
we should do it. Yeah.
No, no,
A
no. But sorry, I didn't
demonstration.
mean to interrupt.
No, no.
You brought me back to memories. I was bringing back to memories of when I first met you both.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, no. I mean, you were saying, yeah, there is a discomfort to at
Right,
first to opening yourself up to this paradigm.
whatever the energies that you're actually releasing could be uncomfortable, emotionally. You know what I mean? But if you
Right,
have the awareness and the knowledge of it, so you're doing the healing. It's not all of a sudden. The beauty of it is that we're all doing it. You know what I mean? In a sense, I mean, I'm doing it. I feel like I could take on humanity because I've been to so many different. This is not my first. This is just my recognition of me being here on this level. But I've always known I've had something, unique.
right,
Now I'm able to channel it, and I understand what this is. So I've already been. It's like I went to. I didn't. I worked in the. I've done the. I paid my human dues, put it this way. So right now, I mean, in a sense, I could tune into anybody's anything emotional. It's like I'm them, they're me. You know what I mean? You could just tune into that. We seem that we're separate from physical bodies, but the energies aren't there. If we start sourcing on other levels, we can start healing all of us.
right.
So this is really, it to me, the knowledge and the education and the awareness does it,
That's
you know.
interesting, especially in light of, I'm curious. I mean, maybe you can get people rocking back and forth without them being aware, but the healing requires at least some conscious acknowledgement.
No,
Wait, what are you saying, Ed?
When we
okay, go ahead.
connect with you, the moment we get you rocking back and forth, your healing systems are kicking in right there. That activates them.
Right,
And then we run the power to supply the electrical voltage to make those systems take off, run, and then we charge up. Think of your bodies as being a storage capacitor. And so if you're not using your higher brain functions, you're stuck in the 8 to 12%, you're just running off your basic given life force energy. But when you crank these energies up, you're packing lots of electrical voltage into this storage capacitor that is built into your body. So anytime you're ready and need the energy, you got it instant on. Boom.
Right, but there's an
wow,
integrate. There is an integrate that's exactly. It just happens that way. But then you go back to your fixed life. You know what I mean? Your life can no longer stay fixed anymore the way it looked. You know what I mean? Because as you're changing and shifting into this state of this fire state, you're not gonna stay in that contained reality. There's change that's going to occur. So that's what I'm talking about. Your physical reality, your your state of being as biointrinsic resonant energy will be the same as your external. So the internal and the external will be the same. Right now, it's not. Right now, there's an integration process that needs to take place if you're all of a sudden becoming expansive. You know what I mean? There's shifts and
right.
changes, like breaking up with relationships or moving into something new, seeing things from new eyes, different eyes. So that's the piece that I bring in as well, because it's the I mean, it's having this power and then living it, actioning it here.
Right. Well, I was going to say, what you're both speaking to is different part. I mean, different sides of the coin here. On one side, I'm seeing like almost like a pinball machine turning on, and all the lights and the sparks and things going back to order, and you're filled with life again. On the other side of things, I'm hearing Lihi, who you're saying, yeah, but what if you looked at life as you are stuck inside of a pinball machine until you step out and see how much control you have to create what reality you want in general? This energy points to that. Um, are what is how does altering your state of consciousness or conscious awareness shift because of interacting with this energy, you think? I want you to piece the dots together, because that's the thing I'm not fully getting. I understand feeling it, but how does feeling it then lead to new understanding about reality?
Well, when we turn this power on, and me and Lihi, we're operating at 80 to 90% of our brain capacity, and our brain's processing energy on all levels of consciousness simultaneously. And then we get this live communications with you. What we're doing in our brain causes your brain to mimic. In other words, we cause your brain to start firing up at all these levels of consciousness. Okay.
Wow.
That's how we teach the classes. We don't teach by blah, 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 blah. We turn the power on, we supply it. Okay. And then just a little guidance. Okay, people, you feel it vibrating here, you feel it vibrating here, you feel it up here. Okay, that's what you do to make these things happen. You memorize what it feels like in your head, because when I turn this power on, I feel like I got electricity just going.
Yeah,
All the, I mean, it
yeah.
just goes nuts in my head. I crank it up, and that's how I control the energy, by making that go nutsier. The more nutsier I make it go in my head, the higher the readings come out in the measurable instrumentation.
Where does imagination fit into this at all? Does it?
I couldn't answer that. I don't.
That's interesting.
I don't imagine anything. I just turn on the sensations.
Yeah.
I make my brain gets real electrical.
No, you're really connected. There isn't any, we were talking about this before the interview. This doesn't seem like there's any suggestion. This isn't hypnosis. This isn't neurolinguistic programming where you're imagining the energy is turning on and therefore it may or may not be.
You're just working this stuff. No.
Wow.
It's the next level. It's the next level. I really see it as the next level. It's making that connection and moving with it.
Yeah.
It's fairly easy to teach. I can say it's real easy to teach children. All I got to do is turn the power on, hand it to them, and give them a couple of guides, and they're gone.
Yeah, they're not programmed and conditioned.
Yeah, and then they develop it. You develop your own skills. Once you activate all these higher brain functions, you have all kinds of skills that you have to you develop them. They will turn on the need. When you're doing something, if you got these energies turned on in your head and something comes up, you don't know what to do with it, the proper sequencing systems will start kicking in your head, and you just follow your intuition and go with it.
How quick do you think this takes to learn? How quick?
Everyone's different. Everyone's different.
Yeah, it's different from, we've had people learn it and learn, not like me and Lihi do it, but start their processes of learning where they can physically do things in just a couple of hours, where they can, I teach it by teaching you how to understand electrical polarity and being able to mentally switch between DC positive and DC negative inside your own electrical systems. I teach, and I can't teach it by telling you how to do it. So I tell people to stand up, look at a mirror, and then I do it for them a few times, which causes them to push and pull away from themselves looking in the mirror, and get them to pick up on that. Once they pick up on that, then they start doing it. And the more they do it, it's like doing push-ups, but doing push-ups with the muscles in your brains. And so once you learn and start practicing those techniques, then you start developing different abilities. But
this is crazy, wild stuff. I mean, this is the stuff. People talk about not using your brain fully all the time, but they don't actually tell you what other stuff to do with it.
They don't know. They don't know.
Yeah. Sorry. I mean, keep going. So you turn it up, and people they go through these exercises, and I mean, like, are there little kids running around right now that can heal? I mean, I want to find these kids.
I've got an autistic kid I started with about 5 years ago. He was 8 years old then, and he's now teaching it to other autistic kids.
Oh my gosh.
You know, it's once you get them started, once you hand it to them, see, if you've never felt this, if you've never had anybody show you, tell you anything about it, you don't know it exists. So you'll never tap it. You'll never turn it on. So all we're doing is turning it on, handing it to you, turning it up, causing a few sensations that you instantly feel. And then you just start, oh, wow, this is real. And then they fall in line and start playing with it. The more you play with it, the more you play with this, the stronger you will get faster.
Yeah, it's cumulative.
Yes.
Hmm.
Ed, have
Yeah.
you did you ever do anything else before this, or did you always know you were going to dedicate your life to this?
Well, my grandparents owned a photography studio, so I grew up. I'm a professional photographer, printing studio, clay printmaker. One of my things. My other grandfather on my mom's side was a power plant operator, so I learned all about electrical work, grounding, wiring, and things like that.
Okay.
Then my dad raced cars and everything, so I learned all about mechanical engineering and building motors and transmissions and all that stuff as a kid. And so I've got many different backgrounds. And I play with this energy through all of them while I'm
That's what's
doing things.
interesting. Where do you use it? Have you used it in photography? Curious how that overlaps.
I had a very problem. I was a teenager working in my grandfather's studio. In the dark room, I used to be loading 4x5 film in the speed graphic things for the wedding. And every
Right.
now and then, when we'd print the film, we had our own wet labs and everything. And when we would print it, we would find my fingerprints over the bride and the groom's faces or bodies and stuff. It was because I had the energy turned on when I was loading the film in the cartridges, and it affected the Tri-X 400 speed film more than it did the 125 ASA plus X film. So it's like Curlian photography, kind of. It imprinted into it if I had the energy turned on. But if I was very calm and loading the film and everything, we never would see it.
Yeah. Wow, that resonates with me. My grandfather was a photographer, so and he had the dark room too. So I'm imagining, uh, he would be very mad if I energetically ruined his prints. I'll tell you that
Oh
right now.
yeah, yeah. Grandpa
Um,
got so upset. He said because he knew Grandma was doing the stuff. And he said, "Yeah, I can't load film or nothing when she's back there in the back of the studio working on somebody. It just messes everything up in the dark room."
right, right, right. Oh my gosh, this is interesting. Now look, tell me this before. I know we're promising people this demo. We're gonna get to it in a
Mhm.
second. Um, People are doing research on you right now. What do you think is the big question that scientists are still trying to understand about both of you when it comes to this buyer energy?
Those that are studying us are just blown away at us. It's like John down at the Rhine Research Center, because of what we've been doing the last couple of years, has now took grants in and bought another couple $300,000 worth of instruments. And one that Lihi's going to like is wiring up the heart and everything, wiring up EEGs and stuff, EKGs around the heart with the energy wired in, and you looking at how the heart plays in with this energy and all. And so we've inspired them, and them writing their peer-reviewed papers about what we do has gotten other people to donate and give grant money to do further research with us. So it's like you say, we've been in a closet our whole lives, and we're just now starting to come out of the closet and bring
Yeah.
it into awareness, because we can get up on a
Yeah.
stage
Mhm.
and light up the whole audience. I mean, I
I
don't make
feel like we're in our infancy stages. It's like, chronologically, I used to say, like, oh, I feel like there's so many years here, but I feel like an infant, in some ways, because we're tapping into something that's so new to
it's new to the
this
world, not
new
to
to
us.
human, not to us, yeah, new to humanity.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's really
it's interesting that you've made an impression on scientists and people of that nature, just because there does seem to be a narrative in the spiritual community around people trying to shut down this kind of energy, knowing this idea, which we'll see. I mean, I think there is a little bit of truth to it that people know that humans are more powerful than the structures and the systems that have been
Oh, yeah.
imposed on us. Like you were saying with religion and stuff. Yeah, you agree with me in the sense that people know
Mhm.
that humans have this potential. Therefore, when you bring in Ed Edwards and a Lee out there, all of a sudden people might be like, oh yeah, those two need to be careful. Those two need to watch out because
Hmm.
somebody is gonna try to shut them down. But humans aren't supposed to know about this stuff. What do you think? Is it just the science you think that's allowed you to have more reputation among scientists? I mean, do you ever fear that the government's going to show up at your door one day? What is your relationship to that?
Well, I've been trying to get on some DARPA projects.
Wow.
Yeah, there's all kind of things this would work. They've got several different projects there that this type of energy would be worth researching and studying. I've done chatted with several of them in DARPA.
Yeah. I mean, you seem to
I'm
operate,
not
both of
worried.
you
I'm not
operate at
worried.
a different vibration than
Yeah,
like the fear mongering healers
yeah,
out there.
nah, nah, man. I'm a scientist. I'm in science research, studying, and every way we can learn about this stuff here. I'm not worried. No, I beg the government to come. They got the best labs on the planet that we could be working in.
Right.
You know,
That's
I
what
heard.
attracted to me about both of you. I said they are talking about science, getting
Yeah.
machines. You go to the website, you can see both of them are tied up. They're not tied up. They have machines tied up around them.
Inside of
Um,
them.
and
Mhm.
it is, I mean, clearly somebody is in a lab looking at something. This isn't just like a new age parlor with a
Oh,
Buddha statue hanging. I mean, you are both really engaged with this. Lihi,
exactly.
sorry, what were you gonna say?
Uh-oh.
Oh, were you going to say something about fearing the government? I know I brought
I
this
think we
topic up, but
lost.
oh, you're still there?
I'm the only one that's here.
Oh, wait. I
We're still
still
here.
I still see you.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Well, she'll catch up with us in a second. Leahy,
Yeah.
um
Hmm.
what I was going to say is that um
My internet connection is unstable.
oh
Yeah.
no. Okay. Well, I'll talk to Ed for a second then. Um oh, well, hopefully she'll come back. I'm sure it's just a quick thing. Wait,
Here
is she
it is.
back?
Okay.
You see it? You
Yes,
back?
yes, I'm here.
Okay, great. We
Okay.
vamped. We
Yeah, no,
vamped.
this buyer is not. This is not fear based. This is exactly the. This is totally. It's about beyond fear.
Yeah. Well, I think that
Mm.
might be a
Again,
great.
I don't know. I see you two are Greg and Ed. You're both
Uh-oh. Is she
still.
there?
Mhm.
You were there
Yeah,
for a
I'm here.
second.
Oh, I can hear you though. Hmm.
Okay. Well, here's my question. Oh, wait. We see you. Um,
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
yes. Yes, you are.
Leahy.
Oh, she's going
Uh-oh.
back. This is crazy. People might be like, "Oh, is the energy too lit up? Is it going?" Do you have people do ask about this
I
all the
was getting
time.
excited. I don't know if that made a difference here.
Well, I was
Leahy.
going to say,
Leahy.
do you have technological issues often because of this energy stuff?
I'm not allowed to fly on commercial aircraft.
Yes.
What?
Leahy, turn your video off and just be audio only. You're froze right now. That'll save your bandwidth.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You're not allowed to
Well,
be on.
it's advised. Dr. Ross Dunsey highly advises for me not to get on any commercial aircraft because I can be locked. I can be closed up inside the Faraday cage and affect instruments and computers on the other side of the campus at UVA. 8 floors above me, 6 floors below me, and me inside a Faraday cage. Okay, so my brother has a little Cessna. And I went flying with him about 25 years ago, and his compass. We get off the ground, the compass wouldn't stay on track. His beam systems
Mm.
that tell him which direction he's going in, they wouldn't line up inside the plane on the radio systems and all. And so I just stay away from them. And then I always wondered why all my cars, I had to tune them up 3 or 4 times more than all my friends. And that was the electronic ignition systems. So I finally started driving a diesel cars. I drive diesel cars only now. I have no problems with them, but any type of electronic ignitions and things like that, cars, if I'm in them much for more than 1,000 or 1,500 miles, they need a tune up.
Have you ever tried to start a car?
Yeah, not with this energy. There's not that much amperage in us, but
Right,
there's enough
right.
amperage to mess with computers and instruments like that.
Oh gosh.
So
I
the
mean,
sensors, we can mess the sensors up that are monitoring things in magnetic waves there.
I think this is very cool. It almost reminds me of Yuri Geller back in the day. I mean, Yuri Geller's whole thing was that he would come on and clocks would stop, which was probably
Mm,
mostly just coincidence, but you actually have something measurable
yeah.
that is saying, no, 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 if this device stopped, you can look at this energy and here's why, which is kind of remarkable. Lihi, I know is coming back. I want to move into this demo just because, we've been teasing it for so long, but let's give
Sure.
her a.
Let's see if we can get her back in here. Leahy, if you hear us, unmute your microphone. And if you'll stop your video, it'll open up your bandwidth.
Yes, I see two of her. I'm letting her back in, which is interesting. All right. Well, anybody who's watching, feel free. I am happy to ask Ed or Leahy any questions that you have in the audience. Those of you tuning in with us live, very, very happy to ask Ed. I just love this idea of you being in church as a kid and knocking people over without them realizing it. I mean, making them
Well,
sway and stuff.
yeah, I was able to make as a Southern Baptist church, I was able to, as we'll demonstrate here in a few minutes, I was able to cause the preacher to trip over in the baptismal pool a few times.
Oh my gosh. Now this is almost, I mean, this is what there's a legendary story about
Well,
Aleister Crowley and action at a distance. I mean, this is that idea.
you'll understand after we do the demonstration. When we do this demonstration in a few minutes, you'll understand what I'm talking about here.
Yeah, my gosh. Okay. Let's see. I think Leahy is coming back.
Okay, tell her to
Um
turn her video off there. She's in a motel room. They don't have enough bandwidth in
oh,
there.
that probably is why. That's probably why. Um so wait, so you whenever you travel somewhere, you just drive now
Yeah,
in
I
a diesel
drive
car?
she's texting me here. I drive a diesel Volkswagen, or it has to be a diesel. I'm booking about 80,000 miles a year.
Oh
And
my gosh.
there she is.
Yeah, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Can't fly a commercial airplane. I mean, that
Yeah,
is
they advise it. The doctor said if they saw me getting on a commercial flight, they wouldn't get on it.
holy moly. This is remarkable stuff. Um yeah. Uh and look, I mean, I don't know. What would happen if have you ever had any times where it hasn't worked the way you've wanted it to?
No,
Wow, great. Yeah,
it's always done exactly what I wanted to do.
yeah.
I mean,
Um,
I played with it so much as a kid growing up. I got real good. It
right.
takes just practice, practice, practice. So I'm practicing most of the day, every day. I'm playing with this energy when I'm not working on clients. I average 3 or 4 or 5 phone sessions a day or more, and stuff. And so I'm working on people for 30 minutes to an hour, sending energy to them. But at the same time, I'm driving down the interstate, or I'm working on the mower, or mowing grass, or doing other stuff. I do multi things at the same time. Yeah.
Holy moly.
Like I
Oh,
say, when we do the demonstration, you'll understand.
yeah. We are we are
I'm
having
going to
a
bring Leahy in just a moment on speakerphone here. Let me see if
I'm keeping an eye on the room and trying to get her back
sure.
in to let's see if yeah, I don't know. I mean, can you do it? That would be even more of a remarkable demonstration. You can yeah,
Yeah.
because it sounds like you can do it without.
No, I can't get in for some
Hang
reason.
on. Oh, okay, now Leahy, just turn it off. We're going to use the phone here and use speakerphone.
Oh wow, look at you hear the delay. uh yes, let's see. Is Leahy there?
Hey, Leahy, can you hear us?
Yeah, how come I can't get in though?
You're
Isn't
in a
that so weird?
motel room there. You're running out of bandwidth.
In a hotel.
Yes, that's what happens in hotels. They're not steady.
Let me just sit there for a moment.
But
If not,
even
the
without her
speakerphone-
there,
No, I thought it was pretty good. I don't know why it's not working.
I know that was pretty weird. I keep
wanna
letting you
listen
in.
here?
Okay.
So Lihi, can you hear Lihi?
Oh, yes, I can hear her.
Okay, Lihi,
Okay,
we're gonna do it through the phone, and you can keep trying to get in. If you get back in, turn your video off. You don't have enough bandwidth there at that hotel. Turn off the radio show there. Turn the volume down. We're getting feedback.
Yeah, you know what? I really trust you to understand like the IT world for some reason and electricity and bandwidth. And I'm just like, oh, this guy just knows energy because he lives it. You'd
Yeah.
be an interesting high school science teacher, I think.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, kids love learning from. I enjoy teaching kids and everything. And this is
Yeah.
this is to be taught. This is to be shared. I was going to get back to a point a while ago that you made there about how people, weren't doing or whatever. Well, back around 1469 and before that, there was these things called pagans. And these
Mm.
pagans had these abilities kind of like this, but the Roman Catholic Church wanted to have control and power off of it. Okay, I got to turn her off.
I think she's back. She is back. Leahy, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Perfect. She's back here, folks. So wait, you were saying that the church, of course.
Yeah, in 1469, the Roman Catholics wanted to have full control and power over everybody, but they couldn't have power over people like me or the pagans or things like that. And the only way to stop it was either kill the people back then that were doing it or break it in the children. Make the children not play with it. Teach the children this is the devil and they're going to be a sin and they can't play with these energies so that they would never develop these abilities growing up. Once you stop it in the kids, see, I had kids that I went to school with. In preschool, we were all playing with energy, but by the time we got in the first or second grade, they stopped it because their religion and parents made them quit playing with it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there is something that is so pure about playing
Yeah.
with the life force. At the end of the day, when your life is over and you're doing all this work, it really comes down to energy and where have you put your energy and how much energy do you have still and where are you getting energy. I mean, you're to strip all the constructions away, like he was saying. It all comes down to this. This is what it is. This is the source of life. This is spirit.
Yeah.
And you just happen to be like you just happen to have a direct path to it. And you think everybody else could too.
Yeah, everybody could be doing this if they would just accept it and then take a few learnings. And then, the basic class that I teach is called Restarting the Brain Generator. If this brain generator is not producing power, you'll never do any of these things that we're doing. And that's what they broke in the children way back then. They caused them not to develop their generating system, which supplies power to all the other sections of the brain. Because Dr. Levengood clearly saw that I got a generator back here in the back of my head. And when I rev this stuff up, it increases the measurable electrical energy that I can produce out my hands. And he could see it happening in my brain and measure it coming out of my hands.
Really remarkable. Everybody can check out, by the way, Ed and Leahy at Bire, that's BIRE dash consciousness.com. We have the link there in the show. I think in the comments section I posted, as well as the show notes. And you can even schedule a session if you want an individual session with them. I mean, they have group sessions, but you can schedule different levels of energy sessions. I love you call it universal love integrations. That's pretty. That sounds about right.
And we every now and then you'll find us on a thing called Clubhouse.
Oh my gosh, you can do this without people even seeing you.
This visual's not needed. All you got to do is hear my voice. That's how I make my living, is over the telephone, taking pain out of people. All I got to do is hear your voice, and I can zero in my systems to the frequency your body operates on. And once I make that connection, it's just like my brain is wired into your electrical harness system, and I'm able to go in there and power up and turn on and activate the systems that causes the healing to take place in you.
Wow. Now, wait a minute. You said through auditory. Is that what you always do, or could you do it without hearing and just seeing? I mean, are you attuned in
Yeah,
all the
I can.
senses?
Oh yeah, I
Okay.
can. I don't have to hear you. If you would just hear my voice,
Mm,
it's like an old-fashioned TV turning the channels, you know. Each channel had a
yeah.
different frequency. Well, if you hear my voice and you kind of lock into me, your brain is flicking that channel to allow you to lock in on the frequency that I'm transmitting on.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Before we get to this demo, great question in the chat. Someone asked, how would this affect slot machines? You ever been in a casino? Ever dealt with that?
One time, and I did it up in Cherokee, North Carolina. And a friend of mine said, "Come on, let's go, let's go." I said, "Well, I ain't a gambler. I ain't ever tried this in there." So I took $30 with me. I figured if I lost $30, no biggie, you know. So I went up there. And about 4 hours later, I walked out of there with $1,800 in my pocket.
What?
And all I was doing is following my intuition, just going from one slot machine. I'd play it for a few rounds, and my intuition say, "Stop, go to another." So I'd cash out, get it on the card, and I'd go walk around the casino until my intuition drew me to another machine. And it only took 4 hours to come up with about $1,800.
Holy moly. Okay. Everybody, it's time to experience this, I think. Ed and Leahy, if you're ready, feel free to take it away.
Okay, I want to check and make sure Leahy's here with us. Hello, Leahy. I don't hear you, Leahy.
She was here.
She's on the, I mean,
Yeah, I know. I see.
I'm gonna get her back on speakerphone. And Leahy, if you hear me, turn off the volume on this radio show.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm unmuting you again. Leahy, are you there?
Oh, I
Leahy?
just, yeah,
Oh, she's back.
it comes in and out. So I'm here for a moment and then I'm out. I'm actually at the casino, so I'll let you know what happens.
That's amazing.
Leahy, I've got you on the phone, and I'm just gonna leave it muted on my end and leave the phone there. So if we lose you on the audio here on the Zoom, take it through the phone so we can keep you in live with us.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready to do the demo?
Yes.
Are you ready, Greg?
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay, Greg, could we get you to stand up and you kind of be the guinea pig for us, and we'll have all the audience.
All right.
All the audience out there that can hear us, stand up for us.
All
Okay.
right.
Everybody stand up. Now, this is recording into your podcast here. So anybody in the future that even listens and takes part, this will affect them the same way. So Leahy, I'm going to start locking in with you and resonating with you. All right. So we're expanding and contracting these electric fields. And Greg will tell us what he's feeling.
I am definitely getting pushed backwards right now.
Uh-huh. We're producing a DC positive field, which expands from us. Okay, now Leahy, let's reverse the polarity to negative and see what this does to him.
Mm-hmm.
See how it pulls you forwards there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to push you backwards again. And everybody out in the audience should be getting pushed backwards a little bit. Okay, now we pull it. Let's pull him back uprightly. Pull him up forwards a little bit. Pull him up there, and then we'll throw a little extra twist into it. Okay, now everybody make sure your feet are fairly close together. If you got a strong stance, you won't feel this stuff. So, but if you got a real loose stance, you're limber and stuff. So now let's take him sideways, Leahy. So we're not even going to say which way yet. You should be going to your right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And see, so once we get this energy connected to you, you know, whenever I do a healing or what you call a healing session or a phone sessions or any of these things, if the people are able to stand up, I do this to them to get them locked in. So let's pull him forwards one time, Lee. Really good. So everybody out in the audience should be getting a forward pull to them. See, that's us knowing how to control the electrical polarity in our electrical fields. See, we're using what is known as the Higgs field. The scientists have determined that when we're utilizing all our higher brain conscious levels at the same time, that allows us to connect in with what is known as the Higgs boson field. And so that's the carrier wave between us and you.
Wow.
Okay. So that's a quick little demo in a nutshell there.
Wow. They did it again. Wait a minute. Well, they did it again. I don't know if anybody is out there live. Let me know what the results were for you. That was pretty wild. The first one really got me. I was surprised by how quickly I went backwards.
Instant on.
Yeah. Yeah, anybody else, feel free to chime in, or if you're listening to this, you can always reach out to me on Instagram, on the Facebook page. I'm curious what your experience with this is. Any slot machines go off over there, Lihi? Any big ones?
I haven't played yet. After
We're just charging her up good.
I am. So I'm going to, because I really believe, I know that when you open up to that state, I mean, you can call it instinct or you can call it, you're totally in that nothingness. You know what I mean? When you're accessing this buyer state, you're not basing anything on anything else, on history and old attachments, associations, and you just kind of bring it in. You become analogical with what you're doing. So I'm totally ready to roar here.
Yeah. What about, I was going to ask you before, the power of suggestion. You said that suggestion has nothing to do with it, though I can't help but think that I'm sure it might enhance things once in a while. I mean, what are your thoughts on this or the placebo effect or anything like that?
It could, but you could stand up there again and I not bat an eye or say make a motion or anything, and I'll push you over backwards.
That's the thing. Now look, I know it's not that. Someone says they felt pins and needles on their body.
That's called charge density pulses. And that's the electrical energy that we're producing and sending out. And that electrical energy will go into your nervous system. And while you're feeling the pins and needles right there, that little demonstration we did, that's like I do the same thing. We do the same basic things. Lihi has a few extra variances because she's in these clinical psychology part, but I'm in the physical part. And so when we turn this electricity on like we just did, it causes everybody's bodies to start relaxing. And as their bodies relax, there in that first minute or so time, the cardiovascular systems expand. When the blood vessels and the arteries open up, all those damaged areas in your body haven't been getting much blood flow. So all of a sudden they go, woo, start getting a flush of blood and everything. And that's just like you lay on your arm, it goes to sleep, you wake up, it starts tingling when you get the fresh blood back in there.
Yeah.
This electrical energy loosens up your body so much that blood will get to every little detail area in your body.
I definitely feel that there is some kind of energy activation going on. I mean,
there is.
Yeah.
Feel
I mean,
something right in there in your brain.
Right. Yeah. No, this is cool stuff. Somebody right now wants you to push me over backwards. Because we have skeptics out there. That's okay.
Hey,
we have skeptics.
Stand up.
Well, I don't want to fall.
Not you, them.
Okay. Hey, if you're listening right now, I mean, I don't know. You want to push this guy over backwards? Wait, tell me this.
Now, now listen, if you have a strong stance, no, I can't push you around or do nothing. But if you have a very limber stance and you're open to what you feel going on around you, yes. Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, we're not, I mean, okay. This person says they're standing.
Okay, so Lihi, let's just set up a DC positive field right here, and we'll just keep this field turned on for the next little while here. And if anybody else wants to try it, they just stand up and see if they get a kind of a push backwards.
Now, oh, this person says he'll stand on 1 foot.
Okay, that's even funner.
Now, look, there could be, and I'm just going to put this out there. There could be this person could be, they're already coming in with a resistant energy. That's right.
I love getting in a pile of skeptics. I'll show you how to cook up skeptical soup.
Oh my gosh. All
That's
right.
that's why James Randi wouldn't mess with me.
Skeptics,
I lit up several of his cohorts.
Really?
Yeah.
What happened? Did you go to Florida? They come visit you? Like, where'd you see
hold them
Randy's
over
people?
the telephone. I lit them up.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Wow. Okay.
Lihi, you're muted again.
Lihi, what are you feeling right now? Do you feel any resistance to this fella? Or I don't know. I just have a feeling that no matter what, this character, Daniel, we'll name you, we'll shame you public. I have no need to shame you, Daniel. Thank you for watching.
He'll learn. See what we're doing here. This will go into Daniel's brain and everything.
Hello?
Let him start understanding energy. I mean, it's all natural, Daniel. This is all part of you. We are electrical bodies. We are electrical systems. And once you realize that and understand that you can control all these other systems in your head, you can self-heal. If you get hurt or something, you can turn these powers on, and 5 minutes later, you're out of pain.
Oh, very interesting.
I've fallen off mountains. I've fallen down and literally nearly broke my back and stuff. All I do is lay there for about 20 minutes, focus this energy, and got up and walked on.
Yeah. Well, Daniel says that he's not skeptical. He just didn't feel anything. I'm curious. I mean, Daniel, look, look, if you want to come on right now, if you want to come on live on camera, all right, let me know. I'm curious if they will they'll do something with you. But yes, look, who knows? Who knows? I mean, I don't know what's going on in Daniel's body. What happened? What do you think? What is your explanation for this? If this person says they're not skeptical, but they didn't feel anything.
There may be, we get, every now and then at the very first time we do it with them, I get about 3 people out of 20 that don't feel something right off the bat. But if you'll come back and rewatch the recording of this at different times of the day, once it starts affecting your body, then it'll affect you every time thereafter.
Yeah. Judith says she felt it. Here's the other thing I will say, Daniel. And this is why I'm not just going like, okay, he did this demo on me, he did this to some people, it's just suggestion. If it was just suggestion, I don't even know, Daniel. I mean, are you, by you saying that, do you contest everything, or is it just you want to experience it? What is your perspective? Let me know. But the fact that you have these devices that are lighting up that people who are researching have seen actual results come from, I mean, that tells me there's something here.
Yeah,
this ain't just, you can't do that with suggestion.
Oh, yeah. We wire people up. And we wire people up in the labs, and me and Lihi and stuff are hundreds of miles away. And when we start focusing on the people, they see changes in their EEG and EKG readings. They see actual physical electrical changes going on in the people.
Yeah. That's the thing. That's why I'm not,
if it can be measured, it can be proven.
Right. Yeah. Well, look, we'll sort that out later. I mean, I thought it was definitely a very interesting demonstration for sure.
Lehi, use the phone.
Is Lehi there? I know.
I'm
Daniel
trying to
really
get her
wants to
on.
try it again now. He says, "Can you try it again? I just didn't feel any definite push."
Okay. Uh,
Should we get
Hello,
him
do you
in?
hear me? Do you hear me?
yeah, Lehi, if will you leave it up on the Zoom like you are, and use the telephone for the audio. I've got you
Okay.
here. I've got you on a call. So start using the phone for your audio. Now mute yourself, or Greg, mute her. There you go. Okay, now Lehi,
No
also turn off
worries.
the volume. Do not listen to the radio show through the computer. Only listen to it through the phone. Can you hear me, Lehi? I don't hear you talking on the phone. Hello?
Yeah, I think she's on mute.
Yeah, but I
I'm
can't
trying to
hear.
get Daniel on here right now.
Okay, let me try to get Lehi on the phone here. She ain't on here. Lehi.
Meanwhile, yeah, there are people out there that felt it. Um, Very interesting.
Here we go.
Sorry, mailbox is full. To send an SMS.
Oh, she's not there.
It was bouncing around here. Let's hold on a second.
Dude, I do not want to fly in a plane with this guy. This is, I
Well,
cannot.
this happens every time we do a radio or do phone sessions. I blow the phone out all the time.
Hello?
There she is. I got her here now. Okay, Lee, we got you. So use the phone for our audio and only listen to us through the phone. Okay?
Okay.
All righty. Now we're ready to rock and roll again.
So where's Daniel?
I'm working on it right now. Daniel, check your, here, one sec. I'm getting things going with him. I sent Daniel the link to get on here. Hopefully he'll see it in a second. Yeah, this is interesting. Very interesting. Are you telling me that if I were to go with you, I mean, you're probably a nicer person now than even you may have been as a kid. But if I were to go to you with a church, you could have you. I mean, have you recently ever done a demo where you've said, "Hey, see this person over there? Watch this." Boom.
Yeah, I've done some things on I've done some things in large groups where I have people on stage with me and they just point at different people, but I have them turn their backs to me. I don't want
Oh,
any
yeah, you don't want that
visual.
Benny Hinn stuff.
Yeah, I don't want them looking at me and seeing what we're doing or anything. And so I'll stand there and I'll get somebody else in the audience or something to point to somebody or something, and I'll just focus the energy on them and pull them backwards.
Oh, wow.
You know, once you get them rocking, once you get them locked in, then you can interact with them like crazy. Then, like, well, Dan here, if it doesn't feel it right off the bat, I have to work a little bit more extensively with them until I wake up his electrical system. Like I say, everybody can be doing this stuff, but you've not been taught about it. You've not been shown these things. No one's ever been around to give you a demonstration of these things until me and Lihi come along.
Yeah. How did they find you both for Ancient Aliens? What's the story behind that?
Well, there was the research that was being done on us at the Rhine Research Center and at the University of Virginia there. They picked up on that, and because of all the peer-reviewed papers and stuff. And then I don't know who somehow got introduced in and they lined up. Now, UVA wouldn't let us film up there at them. So they set up the filming to be done at the Rhine Research Center.
Oh, interesting. And they just decided to call you the alien brain.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was going to be called before I walked in there and did the filming. And then it came out and it was called the Alien Brain.
Right. I'm trying to get Daniel on here. Here, let's see. One sec. I just replied.
Lihi, you said Lihi's telling me she has to get going.
Yeah, we're gonna. I know Lihi's here for the challenge, though. Lihi, do you have like 5 more minutes if we get Daniel on here?
Yes.
I think we're close. I think we're close. I know you want to hit the slots now. Here we go. Let's bring him in. A special guest from Daniel Riccardi. Special guest Daniel Riccardi wants to experience this.
Hey.
Hey Daniel, how are you? Thanks for coming on Open Loops.
Oh yeah, I love it.
All right, make sure you turn off the computer or mute the computer, or whatever you're listening on this. Yeah. So Daniel, what's the situation? Why? I mean, have you ever felt energy before? Are you familiar with this? What brings you to even want to experience this?
Turn off what?
Yeah. What are you trying to do here?
I have felt you know I'm just curious about I've never heard of this. Is that better?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Turn off your computer. Yeah.
Now I can't hear you at all.
Oh, because you can't hear me. No, you can hear me
There
in
we
the
go.
Zoom. Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're curious about this.
Yeah. Oh, damn, there's a big delay.
It's all right. I can hear you. I can hear you just fine.
Yeah,
Well,
don't listen to it. Daniel, turn off the computer audio. That'll mess with your head big time.
Okay, but when I turn off the computer audio, I can't hear anything.
oh, what you have to do
Okay.
is turn off the Facebook. Go off Facebook and stay on
okay,
this chat.
okay.
Yeah.
Stay on the
Yeah,
Zoom.
let me
only.
close Facebook. Okay. Hold on.
Already, we can hear. Already, we know that Lihi and
Okay.
Ed are tuning in.
Yeah,
already.
we're on you.
Where the hell is
They're
it?
already in. They're already in. He is tuned into your frequencies. Yeah. Is that better? You off Facebook, Daniel?
Okay.
There
All
we
right.
go.
Okay,
Yeah.
Perfect.
let's just generate up a strong DC positive field. And while Daniel's telling us about it, we'll just get locked on in with him good.
Okay. I'm just standing here relaxed.
Yeah, just stand very loose stance. Have your feet fairly close together, but where you can stand, limber. Be real limber, not at attention or anything. No
Okay.
forward stance.
Yeah,
Okay.
let go of any expectation.
Yeah, just clear your mind and stuff. All right, here we go. Okay, do you feel anything pulling you forwards just a tiny bit?
Yeah.
Okay, now
Although,
we're
go
going to reverse the electrical polarity. And this is not going to just yank you if you're not feeling strong, but we're going to reverse the electrical polarity. It's like a magnetic field. It's like turning our bodies into magnets. So we're reversing it. So this should be a gentle push, a little nudge backwards. And so when I get a hold of people with neuropathy and stuff like that, or nervous system issues, it's just and they may not feel it for the first 20, 30 minutes, but after we do them back and forth and stuff like that, it unlocks the blockages in them. And then their bodies start healing. And they start feeling it more and more.
This is so weird. I'm sitting down and I felt.
Yeah, you'll
The
feel
push.
it. Everybody can feel it. Push, pull, and stuff. I get a hold of paraplegics, quadriplegics. When I turn this stuff on, I can just push, pull on them. And I've got a little fun thing I do. I set people in a recliner and I lock in the energy through their feet and have them lay their hands on their legs upside down, their fingers totally limber, and I can start wiggling their fingers. I make it look like they playing a piano upside down. And the same thing will happen to the paraplegics and quadriplegics. I can get a hold of them and, they're just laying there motionless. And all of a sudden you'll see their fingers and stuff start twitching and wiggling.
Holy moly. Daniel, how's this going for you right now?
Honestly, I just feel like I'm slightly drifting forward and back. I just feel like I'm just sort of like,
Yeah, we create waves. It's kind of like we're in a pond and we're just creating these little waves back and forth. And the more you do it, it accumulates. The more you do it, the stronger it gets. And it's not us getting really stronger. It's your body waking up and accumulating the energy, charging up your batteries.
I feel like if I was just standing here or anywhere, I would feel like this. I just, just sort of slightly rocking forward and back, keeping my balance. Like, I'm not sure that it's anything that's affecting that. Is that just?
I tell you what, do after we're finished with the show, and then like tomorrow or the next day, come back and listen to this part of the show again.
Okay.
Because I do it all the time, man. I've got YouTube videos and this and that, and Lihi and I and stuff. And anything that we do that's recorded, it has the same effect on you. In fact,
and you don't think that's can be just power of suggestion?
Nah, it's measurable. They can play some of this in the lab there and it affects the instruments.
That's the thing, Daniel. I knew we were going to catch him at some point. I know Daniel thinks that this is look, I have a hypnotist background. I'm like you, Daniel, in that way. My first thought is always, is it suggestion? It still is. There's a part of me that's going, maybe that scientist is looking at the things and thinking it's them, but when you measure the machines, when you look at a research paper, if you go to buyer-consciousness.com, BIRE, you will see papers, you will see people who've researched, you will see people saying, hey, what these two are doing, what Ed has done with his mind, along with Lihi now, is not what we would expect. So that's what's weird about this.
We're way out of the main system of what you think is going on out here. I mean, and we've gotten some very well-known scientists. Like I say, Dr. Levingood that studied crop circle stuff, he studied me for 14 years. Wrote 3 peer-reviewed papers. The first paper was evidence for charge density pulses associated with bioelectric fields in living organisms.
If I just stand here with my eyes closed, I'm slightly drifting forward, back, just ever so slightly. So how can I say you're doing that, or that's just what happens when I stand here?
Like I say, we get about 3 people out of 20 that don't feel it or like you there, just like that.
Well, can you make it intense enough where I'd feel a definite
It
all
should,
in one direction or the
it's
other?
just a matter of getting your body's electrical system woke up. If we sat here and did this for about an hour, we should be able to push you all over the place. But here in 5 minutes,
Daniel, I want you to just stand there like you're standing there. Again, in a loose stance, like you said. And just kind of just soften in your heart. Just kind of breathe. Just let it go. Just relax there. And don't think if it's doing it, if it's not doing it, or would I be doing it if it wasn't. Just let it be natural.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I've had several cancer patients that I've worked with. I've had like one lady with lung cancer really bad that it took 3 months of me working with her once a week there before she started feeling it. I've had other people like that, but when we hook you up to the instrumentation, we can see changes in your electrical systems. You may not feel it, but we've had people that didn't feel anything, but when we wired them up, you could see measurable changes in them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I am feeling a slight floating forward, backwards, but
Yeah.
That's what we're attempting to generate by us flipping the electric fields back and forth.
This is all very, very fascinating.
And everybody else in the audience should be feeling these same things right now.
Yeah.
Sitting, standing, laying, whatever, don't matter. You'll feel the movements through your body.
but I don't feel anything that would tell me, yes, that's definitely something outside my physical body pushing me one direction or the other. I'm just sort of like standing here.
It kind of feels like it comes from the inside. It kind of feels like your guts start pulling you. That's what a lot of people tell us. They don't feel actually something on the outside of their body grabbing them, pulling them. They feel like their whole insides is being pulled or pushed, kind of like the heart and the magnetic fields of that.
Is it ever more than just a slight, millimeter forward, centimeter backwards?
Yeah. Some people like to knock completely off their feet if we want to after a little while. But
yeah, that's I would believe.
That's like 5 out of 40 people. We can do that first time.
How about something in between?
Yeah, everybody gets it in between what you're getting, and Greg's already pointed out some other people feeling the prickly tinglings, the electrical stimulations. It affects different people in different ways.
Okay.
Through these demonstrations. But see, we're not really here trying to set you up to do a healing on yourself or anything. We're just learn different ways that we can do the energy that is prevalent in 17 out of 20 people. I love doing lectures where I've got 200 or 300 people in an auditorium. I'll stand them up and turn them around, let them face the other way, and I'll just stay there totally quiet, nothing at all. And 20, 30 seconds later, over half of them are wobbling all over the place, but the other half of them are standing still, and then they're looking at them really funny. But none of them can see me and could tell, and they can't hear me talking, and I ain't saying nothing. But the effects of the energy affects about half or 3/4 of the people in the auditoriums.
Yeah, the part that I just, standing on your feet, you're gonna naturally be unstable. So what about sitting or somewhere where you're anchored, and then can you move, like you said, move their fingers,
not the finger thing. That don't happen unless I've got you in my presence.
Okay.
I need you sitting in a recliner, and my hands have got to be at the bottom of your feet and then over the top of your toes. And I can start doing this with my fingers, and it'll run backwards right up your nerves and come out, and your fingers will start doing
okay. Yeah. I just feel like I don't know that I'm being influenced by any outside force, or that's how I think pretty much if I just try to stand still in one place, that's how I feel naturally.
Okay. Well, you're one of the 3 out of 20.
Okay.
Look, and Daniel, this is very interesting what you're bringing up, and it's something that I toy with a lot, if you're a frequent listener of this show, is this line between how much are we creating the healing versus how much is it the outside force? Is there a difference? I once went to someone and said, hey, this Ouija board is all ideomotor response. It's all ideomotor. It's using the brain to move your fingers around. But then someone said to me, yeah, but who says ideomotor response isn't something from a spirit moving in your mind? And then I went, oh, gosh, well, now I don't know what's real. Now, what do you got on the phone right there? Are you measuring something?
Lihi has to go. She's being summoned.
Hey, Lihi, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. We're going to wrap up soon, but we'll definitely, you can book a session with Lihi. Any final words on this before you have to run?
Yes, Daniel, it's at this point, it's not to think if it worked or it didn't work. Just allow this experience just be what it is. And let it just be.
Okay, any last words for the radio show?
Yeah. So Ed and I do Monday night groups, 1 hour. It's an echo. It's hard to hear me.
You can't listen to both of them at the same time.
You do Monday night groups. You do Monday night groups. Yes. How can people find out about those groups? What are they? They like their mastermind workshop?
Any one of the websites, you just click the live events and sessions in the menu tab, and it'll take you to our Acuity booking calendar. And whatever we decide to put on will show up on the Acuity booking calendar. All our events are on top of the calendar. We have the Buyer Effect we do on Monday nights. Every other Tuesdays, we have an open mic workshop. And then on Fridays at 12:30, we have a 25-minute booster. Now, we got people that's had neuropathy and all these other problems, and we get them feeling really good in our private sessions. And then they come to our little weekly sessions for these boosters and stuff, and they're living a really good life now. They just need that little weekly tune-up or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it works on all levels. I mean, it also helps a lot with the stress. I mean, people get very relaxed. People are integrating this energy into their life. I am doing a workshop. When is it? On Tuesday. A week from this coming Tuesday, a buyer consciousness workshop, working more with the consciousness and the emotions, how to conquer your emotions that keep blocking you from meeting your full potential. So with buyer, it gets accelerated, and with the knowledge and education, it opens the door. It definitely opens the door.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. That sounds great. And Daniel, where can people find you? No, I don't. I know you don't want people to find you. Maybe you do. I don't know. That'd be a weird reason for him to come on. No, Daniel, look, I appreciate you coming on. I do think, again, it's what's tricky about this stuff is that, in a way, operating from the paradigm of is this real or isn't is part of what prevents people from getting there a lot of the time. So it's sort of in a way, there is a faith component, but then you go, well, why should we have faith in something that I don't know is real in the first place? It's an endless conversation that I'm definitely engaged with. But then you look at the fact that these two are in labs and they have measurable results for some reason. So
years. I've been in studies for 27 years so far.
That is the thing. And look into it, everybody. Buyer-consciousness.com, as well as book a session with them. We'll have the link in the show notes. This has been very fascinating. I know the listeners who are with us and the viewers enjoyed it. We're getting some kind words out there. Ed, Lihi, thank you both so much. This has been fantastic.
Yeah, let me put one last little thing in there. You know old Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
Put my name in with Joe Rogan.
Oh, okay.
He came down to the Rhine and did a story about me trying to debunk what I do. He left there. He gave me a good standing there when he left out there. But everybody else in these hokey pokey and this and that, he run them on the railroad.
Wow.
Back when he was debunking everything, but he came down the Rhine to debunk me, and I got there 3 days ahead of time. So when they started bringing in the roadies, the staff, the crews, and everything, I started lighting them up like crazy. Then I got a hold of the producer and lit him up like crazy. And old Joe Rogan, he didn't have nothing bad to say about me after that.
Wow. That is very interesting. Very interesting. Ed Edwards, Lihi, you both are great. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We've enjoyed it.
This is a lot of fun. Very interesting. And yes, I'm excited to find out where you go next. Let's spread the word about these abilities.
Yeah, let's wake the people up here.